All right, welcome to a very special episode of Live at the Benbow Inn. I am Forrest West, and today we're going to be talking about Tales of the Apocalypse, and it's about pets facing the worst that the world could ever throw at them. So, I just want to kind of start this out. Chris, you're kind of like the point man on this. Kind of explain to me what exactly this is. I mean, it's about animals, it's the apocalypse.
Okay, so what this anthology is, it's 14 different stories, 15 different authors. One of our authors writes the foreword for us. Her name is Mary Buckham. She's a USA Today bestseller. We have 4 of those in the collection. And 7 of the stories are set in the fan-loved worlds of 7 of the authors. And so...
very cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
So, Nick, explain to us your story. How did you approach this?
I approached this. I wrote a series of stories that did really well for me, starting with The Old Man in the Wasteland and The Savage Boy, and that all got compiled in the Wasteland Saga. And so, most people know me as sort of a post-apocalyptic author. And I did one of The Savage Boy kind of already touches on sort of an animal in the book. In the book, a horse is a really good friend to the main companion, who's known as the Savage Boy, and so I like that relationship of sort of like post-apocalyptic scavengers having sort of an animal buddy. I think it's kind of neat because if something terrible were to happen, I think the overwhelming level of grief that a person would experience having everything wiped out, I don't know that you'd want to talk a lot. And I think one of the wonderful things about animals is that they're not big on conversations. I really wanted to go in on that again, and I was able to tell a nice story about a salvager and a runt that he finds, a dog, and the adventure that they kind of have. So I really, really enjoyed this. This was I didn't initially going into when I get invited into anthologies. I always kind of just say yes, and I really don't know what I'm going to do. And I've had some really happy accidents where I've really ended up enjoying. And I don't think they're accidents, but I've really enjoyed what's kind of come out of the process.
Chris, now there's something kind of special tied into this anthology. It's a little bit different. Why don't you tell us what exactly you guys are doing with some of the proceeds here?
Sure. Well, I originally had the idea to benefit an animal charity of some kind. And David Bruns, who's one of our contributors, actually reached out to an organization called Pets for Vets. They're a national nonprofit, and what they do is they take shelter animals, shelter dogs, and train them and match them up with military veterans who are suffering from emotional trauma like PTSD. And so they might train the dogs, for example, to be more comfortable around wheelchairs, for example, that kind of thing. And so they match up shelter animals that would otherwise be euthanized with veterans who need emotional support as they're recovering from their injuries, both physical and emotional. So it's a great charity, and the work that they do really meshes well with the kinds of things that we present in our animals in the anthology. Unconditional love, self-sacrifice, companionship, all of those things that you will find in the stories mesh really well with what the Pets for Vets organization does. So we're really proud to be benefiting them. We're going to give $1 from every book, regardless of format. So ebooks, paperbacks, audiobooks. We're going to give $1 from every book sold to that organization through the end of the year at least. I might actually extend that, but for now it's through the end of the year. So we're hoping to give them a big check on January 1st.
And David Bruns is a veteran, and I'm a veteran too. And I think both of us have encountered people. I have some people that I've encountered in my life that had PTSD pretty awfully. I don't know that I always understood it or thought that it was as severe as it was, but I one time met a guy who had been in the same unit that I was, and he ended up going into Kuwait and seeing some pretty horrible stuff, and he was pretty much a shell of what he'd once been, and we didn't at that time have things like Pets for Vets. And so I think when you look at the suicide rates and the things that are going on now, we've got to be doing, anything we can to help people sort of recover from this trauma. And I think this is just a really super, absolutely noble, worthy cause. And this was like something that I'm really actually proud to contribute as a writer, like to do, so much of the time you're writing just to entertain people and hopefully, make $1 million. But beyond all that, it's really nice to help people who've offered everything for not just America or anything like that, but for, what everybody here, Australia, Canada, the United States, we're all democracies, and we're all about, hopefully, I think in a very, innocent sense, making the world a better place for freedom. And we won't get into the politics, but a lot of people have really served, just solely they've raised their right hand and pledged to serve basically for those core values. And so I think this is a wonderful way to come back and help them now.
Yeah, we're really proud to give the donation to Pets for Vets. It's a great match.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, again, I was excited when I heard about that. I mean, again, I think it's an interesting anthology to begin with because, again, it is it's a little bit of a twist on it, but again, focusing on animal characters, which is, again, something much different. I mean, my first, I guess, like, my first, like, real interest in actually, like, seeing the adventures of an animal character where actually came from Stephen King's The Stand. There's a whole part with the Labrador, I forget the name, or Labrador Golden Retriever, who has to go through this entire experience to catch up with his owner as they get into this free zone after this plague befell the entire world and wiped it out. And from that viewpoint, it was extremely interesting. I'm so excited to see everyone doing something like that because I thought that was something that we could have made a total novel just out of that itself. The last thing, too, this is a point about myself. I mean, I used to work in property management until recently. The thing was is that we were across the way from the Veterans Administration Hospital in Long Beach, California, and you could see the difference what pets do for, again, people suffering from emotional trauma because of the experiences they've been through. I mean, I do remember one person in particular who actually was gifted a German Shepherd rescue and how his entire outlook on life and everything changed, not I wouldn't say overnight, but, there was a steady change over the period of, 3 months as he had this German Shepherd pup and took care of it. And it's just a wonderful cause that you guys are helping out with. So, again, I really appreciate that. Just to wrap it up, when is this coming out for everyone, and what formats can they get this on?
Okay, so it's actually up on Amazon for pre-order now. It'll be released on November 20th. We're going to have a big launch party that day. It's a Friday, so we're going to have a big launch party on that day. And it's going to be available in audiobook, paperback, and for the Kindle. And if you don't have a Kindle, you can get a free Kindle Reader app for any smart device that you have. So that's when it's coming out.
Very nice. Well, again, I think everyone should check it out. Guys, I'd love to talk to you more, but I think that is going to just kind of set it for right now. Again, Tales of the Apocalypse. I think everyone's in for a treat because, again, you don't see these kind of anthologies at all with a kind of, again, a character that's, based on our best household friends. So, again, thank you so much for everything, and appreciate it. Chris, thank you. Bye, con Dios, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Take it easy.